A Democratic congressman is sending a message to Donald Trump. Come and get me, taco. Generally, tacos don't deliver themselves, hence Uber Eats and DoorDash. So let's see how far Trump gets with this one. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. The second Trump administration has seen a radical shift in the Justice Department, as Trump has fired scores of attorneys and replaced them with his own drooling minions, many of whom have no business even serving in the Justice Department at all. Worse, Trump wants to use the Department of Justice as a sort of mob enforcement team, targeting his personal enemies and compiling cases against them, whether they have clearly committed a crime or not. Those include the prosecutions of former FBI Director James Comey, as well as New York Attorney General Letitia James. Comey, of course, investigated the Trump campaign's ties to Russia in the 2016 election, while James oversaw prosecution of Trump campaign finance violations. In fact, let's see how all that's going, shall we?
This is important. It's one step in the process, but some unusual factors. As you pointed out, these two cases, one against the New York Attorney General Letitia James and another against the former FBI Director James Comey, those are in different districts, but together they were brought here today. This motion being heard by a judge from still another district in South Carolina to come here and review this critical issue is someone who worked for President Trump as his private lawyer, then worked in the White House, and has now been placed in this interim U.S. attorney role. Her name is Lindsay Halligan. Was she lawfully put in that position? And there were real questions raised about that, and the judge indicated some skepticism in her questioning of the government's lawyers here. And Halligan had no prior prosecutorial experience. She is a lawyer, but had not worked in this area before. And at issue is if she was not lawfully in the position, was she able to bring indictments in these cases? So the two defense teams for Comey and for Attorney General James are asking the judge to throw out these cases and also asking to disqualify Halligan. And then there would be a question about if that happens, can new charges be brought? Because certainly in the case of James Comey, the statute of limitations has already been passed. So these are important legal issues, and in a big picture sense, it involves some of the national figures we've been talking so much about. Are there political prosecutions against adversaries of the president, and did an ally of the president play a part in that? That's part of what is being examined here.
And if you think that mess is laughable, stay tuned. It gets even more ridiculous. So to reiterate, Donald Trump thought it was a good idea to appoint someone who was not a prosecutor to prosecute two of the most high-profile and controversial cases in the history of the Department of Justice. Maybe you ask why? Well, remember, Donald Trump hires people based on how they look on television, a principle detailed by numerous journalists, most recently Jonathan Karl. And in fairness, Lindsay Halligan does look like someone I would see on TV, namely those old adult chat hotline commercials that always had softcore advertisements. Can't you just see Ms. Halligan screaming, "Pick up the phone!" I digress. The prospect of facing down all the resources of the Justice Department would daunt any American, but given the shambles of the current Trump era, one congressman threatened with DOJ prosecution is laughing in the face of Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi. That would be California Congressman and potential gubernatorial candidate Eric Swalwell. Like Letitia James, the Trump Department of Justice has made accusations of mortgage fraud against Swalwell. Appearing last night on MSNBC, Swalwell played defiant, standing on his principles and calling out Trump's corruption, not to mention his ineptitude. Take a look.
You put out a statement shortly after this was made public, saying, of course, I will not end my lawsuit against him. Your statement seemed defiant. You are resolute, that you are not afraid. You have no fear. And I know earlier this year, you noted that you knew you could be a target. Now that this is out there and it's been out for a couple of hours, just take us inside your strategy going forward, sir. And have you actually heard from the Justice Department?
Well, first, of course, these allegations are false, just like the allegations against Adam Schiff are false, and Letitia James are false, and Lisa Cook are false. And a spoiler alert for you, there will be allegations next week against somebody that'll be false. No, the Justice Department has not said anything just through leaked media reporting. But This is really about Donald Trump going after his political enemies. And no one has been a more vocal critic than me. And as you mentioned, I have one of the only remaining lawsuits against Donald Trump for his role on January 6th. I don't wake up every day going to work to fight Donald Trump. I fight for Californians. He just happens to get in the way. And if he thinks for 1 second that me or Adam Schiff or Tish James or Lisa Cook are going to back down or hide under the bed or shrink, he is wrong.
I think if we could, we have from the Wall Street Journal reporting, Congressman, that I think the context here is important to bring up, that just from 48 hours ago, a report in which Fannie Mae watchdogs were removed from their jobs who had been probing to see whether Trump appointee Bill Pulte had improperly obtained mortgage records of key Democratic officials, including New York Attorney General Letitia James, according to people familiar with the matter. Fannie's Ethics and Investigations Group had received internal complaints alleging senior officials had improperly directed staff to access the mortgage documents of James and others, according to the People. It was 2 months ago, I recall, when Bill Pulte, who is the head of the Federal Housing Finance Agency, made his first referrals as it pertained to Adam Schiff and Letitia James to the Department of Justice. That is what, to our understanding, has taken place today. Could you be specific when, as we wait to see if the Department of Justice seeks to take this up in a panel, a grand jury, when folks ask you about the specific allegations of a double primary residence, what do you say about your situation?
Yeah, I only have one mortgage and a residence in California, and I spend my time every week between California and Washington, D.C.
Now that's what we call come and get me, bitch politics. And since the Democrats took a major PR hit earlier this week with their handling of the government shutdown, it's so refreshing to see a Democrat stand with such gusto and defiance. It's the kind of leadership we need in the party right now, not to mention nationwide. If Swalwell does indeed have his eye on the governor's mansion, this is a great place for him to start his campaign. He set an example to the rest of his fellow politicians. Trump is a fat and saggy bully, and Lindsay Halligan is a non-union extra in a late-night commercial. Don't fear them. Beat them at their own game. This is Occupy Democrats.